What's up? What's up? How's everyone doing tonight? Awesome, I love the feedback from this quadrant. Thank you guys. All right. So guys, I think I'm gonna start off by telling you guys a little story about a trip I took this summer, right? I went to Mexico. Now let me tell you, Mexico is fantastic because it's one of the only places that the second you cross the border, all of the stereotypes come true. It's like they just come alive right when you're on the plane. Everyone just puts on these hats and starts salsa dancing all over the place. It's great. And while I was there, there's one thing I noticed, right? I noticed one stereotype in particular, and it's a relatively positive one. It's the one where Mexican people work way harder than white people, right? I notice that all the time. Because in Mexico, if something happens, it'll be taken care of within the hour, okay? It doesn't matter how many Mexicans they have to drill out, they're gonna get it done in an hour. You take the same task and bring it to the US, that's gonna take like 5 days and have a lawsuit attached to it. Right? And it's crazy, because they seriously work way harder than we do. Even their wildlife works harder than we do, right? I was sitting on the beach and I just watched a group of ants and they built an anthill, right? In 20 minutes, okay? Now, let's put some perspective on this. An anthill is their house, okay? So they built a house in 20 minutes. And I started to feel shitty about myself because it was like, what can I do in 20 minutes? The answer's nothing, okay? I can't even jog for 20 minutes. I can't put together IKEA furniture in 20 minutes. I can't even shit and wipe my own ass in 20 minutes. And these fucking ants built a home. That's insane. Yeah, get out of here. It takes me that long to shit, sir. Man. And honestly, I think it's because as Americans, we've become very lazy. We're very lazy, and you have to admit it. And we're so lazy, everything we have is voice activated now. Right? Now, let's talk about this. Voice activation was created to replace the remote control, okay? Now, the remote control was originally made so that you can change shit without moving. And that became too hard. Okay? Because the remote was never that hard to begin with, right? Think about it. When it first came out, 5 buttons, right? Power on, right? Channel up and down, volume up and down. 5 total buttons. Until some shithead looked at it and goes, fuck it, I'm gonna throw 40 more. Right? No, go look at your basic cable remote. There's over 40 buttons on it. And there's one button in particular that annoys the shit out of me. It's the favorite button. Right? There's a button that you can click to take you to your favorite channel as if you were going to forget your favorite channel. Right? I just think that's fucking ridiculous. That's how lazy we've gotten. We're so lazy in general, we've created cyberbullying. That's a big thing nowadays. Kids don't want to go outside and call someone an asshole. You know? Instead, they're just going to log on. They're going to log on to their social media and just subtweet and hashtag. I sound like an old man when I say this, but I feel like the next generation is just going to be a horde of just passive-aggressive shitheads. And honestly, the one thing you have to blame is our technology, right? Our technology is even starting to think for us, you know? In its simplest form, Netflix chooses what you're going to watch, okay? The moment you sign on to Netflix, it has suggestions for you, which is bullshit, because my Netflix is holding me accountable for stuff my girlfriend watched 4 months ago. This thing thinks I've been gay for 4 months, okay? Doesn't matter what I've watched in between, whether it be monster truck rallies, fighting, cooking shows about rare meat, it doesn't matter. Because every time I sign on, it gives me, because you watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Which is a fantastic show, by the way, in case you're wondering. So I sign on to my Netflix, and the first thing I see, it says suggestions for John. First suggestion, queer as folk. Okay? Next one, cheerleading queens. And as I got further down the list, it was crazy. Like, the stuff that was at the end of the list didn't make sense at some point. The last thing on it, no shit, was Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. That doesn't even apply. Like, I feel like the people at Netflix are like, all right, let's put a couple in the front. They're probably gonna watch that because it makes sense. But towards the end, fuck it, let's just try. Let's cover all our bases. Right? For example, say you're trying to watch a stand-up comedian, right? It'll give you the basics, right? You get your Kevin Hart, your Gabriel Iglesias, right? And then knowing Netflix is gonna throw in some random shit like the other Pauline girl. Right? That's not even a comedy. If you guys don't know what it is, it's about like two queens who hate each other. I guess it's kind of funny because it sucks. It's crazy. We have such sophisticated apps nowadays, right? Every application is so sophisticated, right? Like Groupon. You guys know what Groupon is? Yes. So Groupon, for those who don't know, because there's only 2 people in the back who know, and I guarantee they're female. Groupon is an app where you go on and you just purchase shit for really cheap, right? I like to call it the devil's application, because it'll convince you that you can do something because it's so inexpensive. And women go nuts for this. They go crazy. A woman would buy a child with no arms off Groupon. He can't clean, but fuck it, that is cheap. I saw this one deal on Groupon, it was insane. It was 20% off a make-your-own sushi workshop. That sounds good, right? But in the fine print it said you have to buy another Groupon to eat it. It was like this little Japanese fusion Groupon Inception shit. I didn't get it, I didn't understand it. And like I said, Groupon makes you do shit you shouldn't be doing. I saw this one girl, it was a friend of mine, she was so happy to the point of tears. She started crying over this. She was able to get 2 tickets for a scuba diving trip for her and her boyfriend, 75% off, right? So happy, telling me all the details of her trip. But she forgot one thing, guys. She has no idea how to fucking swim. Right, but that's what Groupon does. Recently, my girlfriend got into Groupon. That sucked. First thing she bought was 2 tickets to a week-long of Zumba classes. And I was ticket number 2. Yeah. I learned a lot about myself that night. Okay? I learned A, I don't know a single word to a Pitbull song. Right? And B, I learned that I am phenomenal at Zumba. Just picture this fat, sweaty guy with a beard just dry heaving in the corner, right? And now picture me on the other side being a superstar. And that's exactly what it was, right? Like I said, I'm talking about these applications and our technology and how great they are, right? But the one thing our technology will never be able to do correctly is autocorrect. I know Pauline touched on it for a second. But it's true, you all have your own autocorrect story. But I'm definitely going to tell you mine. All right? So I'm talking to a buddy who's going through a rough patch in his life, right? So towards the end of the conversation, I give him a couple words of encouragement. And then he texts me back, dude, I'm just thankful for all of my herpes. To which I responded, really, all of them? Because 1 in 5 people might disagree. And he said, oops, autocorrect, I meant homies. But folks, the damage was already done. You see, because I know how Groupon works. Not Groupon, autocorrect, whatever the fuck I'm talking about. I know how it works, regardless. I know that autocorrect will take words that are misspelled or uncommonly used and replace them with words you use more frequently. Yeah. So that means my buddy is using the term herpes way more than he's using the term homies. And I learned a lot about him that night, folks. Let me tell you one last thing. I'm going to stop after this. In America, we spend a lot of money on our tech, right? We spend a lot of money on research and technology. Those are the 2 major things we spend money on, right? But I'm starting to realize the research is a little lacking, right? We put thousands of dollars into some of these studies, and the results are kind of subpar. For example, 2 years ago in Boston, or is it 3 years? I don't know, when they won the Stanley Cup, a local college collected money and did a study to find out what they did the week after they won the Stanley Cup. And they found out that Boston watched 21% more pornography that week. They spent thousands of dollars to find out that when you get guys amped up, they're just gonna come on things. Thank you very much, guys. I'm John Elias.